Post 1. Am I the jerk for letting my boss walk me down the aisle? When my family never RSVP'd, I am the middle child. If there were a family photo where people are out of frame, that would be me. I am not trying to be dramatic. It is just how my life has looked. My older sister, Tara, is the polished one who posts long captions with glitter hearts. My younger brother, Liam, speaks in reactions and memes. When milestones happen, my parents, Diane and Victor, tell the group chat how proud they are and then forget to show up until someone tags them. I tried not to let that history sit on my shoulders while planning my wedding. I sent paper invitations 6 weeks ago, pretty ones with our names in blue ink. I also sent a digital RSVP link to our family group chat because my parents always say, "Send it where people live." The chat sprouted hearts and thumbs ups. No actual responses. I told myself it was early. I put the caterer deadline on my calendar. I waited. 2 weeks later, nothing had changed. I texted the group chat again. I wrote, "Hey, final headcount due soon. Here is the RSVP link again." Tara reacted with a heart. Liam sent a GIF. My mom wrote, "We will see." My dad wrote, "Excited for you, kiddo. Still no forms." I tried individual texts. Tara said, "I am juggling a spa day for a collab. I will circle back." Liam said, "Work is wild." My parents said, "We plan to come, babe. Can you just put us down?" I asked for meal choices. Silence. I began to feel like a person whispering, "Please," into a well. When my bridal shower came, my family did not attend. Tara posted a story from a sauna with the caption, "Self-care Saturday." Liam reacted to my shower photo with a thumbs up. My parents sent a text that said, "Looks cute." No one called. My work friends threw the shower. They brought cupcakes and a card that said, "We actually like you." I cried in the bathroom for 5 minutes and then came back out smiling because it felt good to be seen by anyone. The caterer deadline moved closer. The venue emailed a polite reminder. I looked at the list of unpaid family seats and felt the familiar dread. I kept thinking of 3 other times. My high school graduation, where my seat was empty except for a coat my mother put down to make it look like it was occupied. My hospital discharge, where my dad forgot to pick me up and texted, "Can you Uber?" And my last birthday, where everyone wrote "love you" in the chat and no one came to dinner. If I call each person now, will it change the pattern or just make me the project manager of my own neglect? So I started thinking about backups. Not in a vindictive way, in a realistic way. I went to my boss, Mr. Reyes, who has always been kind and steady, and I said, "This is awkward, but if my dad does not confirm, would you be willing to walk me down the aisle?" He looked startled for 1 second, then gentle. He said, "I would be honored if you need me, and I will also be thrilled to sit and clap if your dad is there. No drama, just a safety net." I also looked at the seating chart and saw 30 empty seats where family might not be. I invited coworkers who show up to everything. Jules, who leaves snacks on my desk when she sees I forgot lunch. Kara, who drove me to urgent care last winter. Sunny, who texts me photos of her dog when I sound tired. They all said yes in complete sentences. They sent back RSVPs with meal choices in 10 minutes. I felt my shoulders drop. I did text the group chat one more time. I said, "Headcount due Friday at noon. Please use the link." After that, I have to lock the list. I wrote it calmly, not as a threat. Tara reacted with a heart. Liam wrote, "LOL, of course." My mom wrote, "We plan to come." My dad sent a thumbs up. Noon came. The link showed 0 family responses. I am not trying to punish anyone. I am trying not to beg. I can feel a small voice in me worrying that I should chase harder, that a good daughter organizes everyone's calendar and calls 3 times and then calls again. But I am also the person getting married, and I want to arrive at my wedding with a pulse, not as a coordinator sprinting toward a moving finish line. Caleb, my fiancé, keeps saying, "Let the people who love you come close." He says, "Invite the ones who prove it." He says it without bitterness. He has watched me stand in doorways with my phone in my hand, drafting reminders. And he has watched the blue dots not turn into text. He is not cynical. He is just tired of watching me ask to be seen. So here is where I am. The venue needs a final number. My family has not RSVPed. I have asked, twice in the chat and twice individually. I am going to lock the list based on the people who responded. I am going to fill the seats with coworkers who have shown up for me. If my dad does not confirm, Mr. Reyes will walk me down the aisle. If my family arrives unannounced, there will be standing room and cake. Am I the jerk for not following up more to ensure my family attends? And for quietly arranging backups like inviting coworkers and asking my boss to walk me down the aisle if my dad does not? Comment 1. Not the jerk. You sent invites, a link, and multiple reminders. Adults can click a form, lock the list, invite the people who actually show up for you, and make Mr. Reyes your designated backup. You deserve a calm day. Comment 2. I get it, but one last round of direct calls to parents and siblings might save hurt later. Say, I need a yes or no by tonight. If they still do not respond, you will know you did everything. Update 1. First, thank you. I read your comments and took the advice to set a firm cutoff. I locked the headcount at noon Friday using the RSVP list, which still showed 0 family responses. I sent one last message to our family chat at 9 a.m. Final call by noon. Please use the link heart emojis, a thumbs up, no forms. At 12:01, I sent the final numbers to the caterer and venue, closed the link, and put my phone in a drawer. Because a few folks asked what I do, and it matters here. I am a lawyer. I accidentally grew a TikTok following by posting short explainers about contracts, consumer rights, and courtroom etiquette. It is not lifestyle content. It is case law in plain English with a face. Over the past year, I have shared slices of my life in a boundary-focused way. So, while I was spiraling about RSVPs, I recorded a 3-minute video titled Wedding RSVP 101 from a contracts lawyer. I kept it general. No names, no dragging. I explained that an invitation is an offer. An RSVP is acceptance, and vendors require reliance on that acceptance to perform. I said the quiet part about emotional labor. Chasing adults is not a bride's job. The video was measured and nerdy. It also blew up. Planners stitched it. A choir director duetted about rehearsal numbers. A venue manager commented, "Bless you for saying this plainly." I decided if I was going to drown in group chat silence at home, I would at least tell the truth clearly on my page. I made a second video. Seating charts for found family. Again, no names. I talked about filling empty seats with people who already show up. That one did well, too. The response bolstered me enough to do the next thing. I asked Mr. Reyes, my boss, to be the formal backup to walk me down the aisle. We signed a tiny letter for HR, not because we needed it, but because we like having clean lines around dual roles. HR stamped it received and handed me tissues, which made me almost cry. I also sent calendar invites to my coworkers with their table numbers and a short dress code note. They RSVPed in seconds. One added a dog photo because she knows I need them when I am stressed. The night before the wedding, my mother texted, "We plan to come." No confirmation in the link, no meal choice, no time of arrival, just that sentence. My father heart reacted. Tara posted a spa boomerang. Liam sent, "LOL, see you." I breathed through the urge to scramble and decided to let the plan stand. The venue had the list. The staff had the names of people who were guaranteed seats. Standing room was available for late arrivals. Cake does not require an RSVP. Wedding morning was soft and clear. I filmed a quick TikTok while hair was starting. Just a quiet clip about choosing peace and honoring people who keep their word. Comments flooded with congratulations from strangers who somehow felt like friends because they had cheered me on while I set boundaries. I set my phone to Do Not Disturb and tucked it in my bag. Guests arrived on time. My coworkers came in pairs holding wrapped cards and actual RSVPs like they were props. The room felt full. We kept 2 open rows up front for my family because I could not bring myself to fully believe they would not come. Noon passed, then 1, then 1:30. Ceremony at 2. No parents. No sister, no brother. At 1:40, I looked at Mr. Reyes. He gave me a look I understood from countless hearings. Ready when you are. I nodded. He offered his arm at 2 o'clock. He did not make a speech. He did not perform the role. He just became a sturdy line on my right side, and I walked. The ceremony was perfect. I do not mean Pinterest perfect. I mean there was air in my lungs, and I could hear the music and see Caleb's face, and no part of me was doing math about late check-ins or meal swaps. When I say found family filled the room, I am not being poetic. Jules cried into a napkin during the vows. Kara and Sunny clinked glasses, and it sounded like joy, not threat. A partner at my firm who rarely leaves his desk danced in a circle with my friends like a very dignified tree. There were no speeches about being a difficult child. There were no apologies baked into the cake. I will remember the light in that room for the rest of my life. I did vlog pieces of it. Before anyone panics, I kept faces private unless people consented. I filmed my shoes while I said, "If your people are the ones who show up, that is enough." I filmed my bouquet against the window while I said, "Legally and emotionally, you can stop chasing." After the ceremony, with Mr. Reyes's permission, I filmed our elbows as we laughed and said, "Sometimes a mentor becomes family for a day." I posted those as a mini-series called "A Lawyer Gets Married Without Chaos." The comments were a waterfall of kindness. Planners thanked me for normalizing deadlines. Teachers said they would show the RSVP video to seniors before graduation. I cried in the bathroom again, and this time the tears felt like relief, not grief. At 9 p.m., after the last sparkler went out, I checked my phone. No text from my parents. No missed calls from Tara or Liam. I thought I would shatter at seeing the emptiness. Instead, I felt something unclench. The shape of the day was not defined by their absence. It was defined by the presence of people who heard a date and came on time. I know some will say I should have called my parents a final time that morning. I hear the echo of that argument in my own head, the one that says good daughters manage other people's calendars, feelings, and logistics. I also hear the counter that I am allowed to be a bride and not a coordinator, that I sent clear invites and reminders and a final deadline, that I built a plan with backups to protect my peace and my vendors. Both voices live in me. One is tired, one is finally breathing. So here is my question, and I am asking it as both a lawyer and a person with a soft center. Am I the jerk for finalizing without more follow-ups, letting my boss walk me when my dad did not confirm, and sharing the day in measured TikToks that explained the boundaries I set? Comment 1. Not the jerk. Your RSVP primer was a public service. You set clear deadlines, offered standing room, and handled the aisle backup with grace and HR transparency. Enjoy your perfect day and keep those videos up. They will help others. Comment 2. I am glad your day was beautiful. I still think a direct call the morning of to each parent could have prevented hurt later. Not saying you owed it, just that it might have closed the loop. Update 2. The night after the wedding felt like someone finally turned the volume knob to a sane setting. I woke up before Caleb and padded to the kitchen with my dress shoes dangling from 2 fingers. There was confetti stuck to the dog. My bouquet looked like a watercolor in a jar. I expected to feel hollow about the empty family rows. I did not. I felt grateful that the people in the chairs had actually wanted to be there. Because many of you asked, yes, I kept vlogging, but I did it the way I handle client stories online. I record first, I publish later. I give myself room to be a person before I become a narrator. I spent an hour with coffee and stitched together a short series called A Lawyer's Wedding Mechanics. It was about process, not drama. Part 1 was timeline and vendor reliance. Part 2 was how to build a seating chart that reflects reality. Part 3 was a 30-second clip about aisle contingencies, with a quiet shot of 2 elbows and the caption, "When a mentor shows up." I uploaded them, but set the post to private for the moment. No names, no faces without consent. My coworkers had already given me explicit permission to share the bits where they appear as wrists and shoes and laughter behind napkins. Mr. Reyes texted, "Of course. Permission granted," and also reminded me to drink water like dads do when they remember they forgot to be at a ceremony. I wrote thank you cards until my hand cramped. I mailed one to HR with a small plant and a note that said, "Thank you for being the kind of department that understands when a boss has more than one role in a life he did not expect to be in." I left a card on Mr. Reyes's desk with a photo of 4 sleeves, 2 of which were ours, pressed side by side. I emailed the quartet, the caterer, and the venue manager. I paid the last invoice with a feeling I can only describe as relief dressed as responsibility. I also sent a calendar invite to my team for a tiny office sheet cake at Friday lunch because they dance like 8-year-olds and deserved cake. In my drafts folder sat a longer caption I could not quite finish. I wanted to say thank you to my following for pushing me to set deadlines that were not pretend. I wanted to name the balance between calling people in and chasing them down. I wanted to talk about how love looks like a clicked link sometimes. I kept editing until it was just the truth in a sentence. I stopped begging and started believing the people who showed me who they are. I stared at it and worried it sounded proud. Caleb read it and said it sounded like a spine. A lot of you were curious about whether any family reached out during the day. They did not. No calls, no texts, not even a running late. There is a part of me that still tries to problem solve in every silence. I have to keep reminding that part that my job was to marry the person I love and pay the people I hired, not to shepherd adults from their driveways to a chair. My brain does not unlearn a lifetime of chasing overnight. It is learning. I am teaching it. We did a tiny morning after brunch at Jules's place for the people who stayed late and then insisted on washing dishes. Her kitchen smells like cinnamon all the time. She put my bouquet in a cut glass pitcher and we ate scrambled eggs on paper plates. And a partner from my firm told a ridiculous story about his first closing that ended with a crooked signature and a very patient clerk. Caleb kissed my temple every time I drifted into the I should have called loop. Kara passed me a phone charger like a relay baton. Sunny made the dog a crown of leftover ribbon. It felt like the opposite of chaos. 2 things happened around noon that nudged me toward what came next. First, a quiet DM from my cousin Maya. We are not close. She has always been kind in the background. She wrote, "I saw your RSVP videos. I am proud of you. I hope yesterday was full of people who showed up on purpose." I cried at that sentence. It held no accusation. It did not ask for proof. It did not tell me what a daughter owes. It just named a hope. Second, I opened the analytics tab because I am a person who likes numbers when feelings are messy. The RSVP explainer from last week kept climbing. Event planners and clergy had shared it. Teachers were saving it for prom committees. There were comments from wedding vendors saying that this should be taught in high school. I felt a twinge of guilt about enjoying the professional validation on a weekend where my family declined to attend my wedding. Then I reminded myself those truths are not mutually exclusive. I can be a good lawyer with a useful platform and a woman whose parents missed her vows. Both can be true at once. At 2 p.m., I toggled my 3 wedding mechanics posts from private to public. I did not cross-post to Facebook. I did not tag anyone. I captioned them with simple notes. Contracts rely on responses, found family is valid, and plan backups without shame. I turned comments on and then put my phone face down and went to take a nap. Sometimes the healthiest boundary is a 30-minute sleep. When I woke up, the comments were a small river. Planners, thank you for normalizing deadlines. A florist, also normalize not moving centerpieces last minute. A teacher, we are showing this to seniors. A young paralegal, I am going to write my own RSVP policy for my graduation party. Here and there were messages from people who said, my parents did not come either. I filled my rows with neighbors and professors I read them and felt less alone in a way that was not bitter. I know the question you are waiting to ask. Did my family notice anything yet? As of this update, still quiet. No comments on my posts, no missed calls, no proud of you texts sent at 11:59 to feel timely. In the past, that silence would have felt like a cliff edge. Today, it felt like a landing. I could put my weight down without tumbling. I did one more small thing that felt like future protection. I exported a PDF with screenshots of my mailed invitation receipt, the RSVP link dashboard, and the 2 reminder texts with read receipts displayed. I saved it in my folder labeled Wedding Logistics next to the vendor contracts and the seating chart. I do not plan to post it. I am not building a case for the internet. I am just being the kind of lawyer who has her exhibits in order if someone tries to rewrite the story on my behalf. Tonight, Caleb and I are going to order noodles and watch a courtroom drama that gets everything wrong. I will point out the bad objections. He will lean against my shoulder until my neck stops holding up all the days that came before. I am not looking for a fight. I am not looking to prove anything. I am living in the quiet thrill of a wedding that was truly perfect for us. Tomorrow morning, I will post a small album for friends and for my professional page, mostly detail shots and hands and the window light on silk. If my family sees it, they will see the beauty of a day they did not help build. If they do not, the day will still be what it was. Thank you for talking me through the logistics and the feelings. Thank you for reminding me that boundaries are not mean. They are the shape of kindness when you draw them around self-respect. Comment 1. As another lawyer who works in events, your 3-part series is gold. Save your receipts privately. If anyone tries to spin a narrative, you can respond with one clean graphic or choose not to engage. Either path is valid. Proud of you. Comment 2. I am glad your day was peaceful. I still think a single direct call to each parent the morning of would have been kind. Not required, just kind. If a conversation happens later, consider a therapist present so it does not turn into you managing everyone again. Update 3. I woke to a phone buzzing on the nightstand like a trapped bee. For a second, I thought it was the timer for coffee. Then I saw the screen. Mentions. Tags. A waterfall of notifications. My cousin Maya's name sat at the top with 3 words that made my stomach drop. They are posting. I opened Facebook first because that is where my parents live. My mother had written a caption under a stock bouquet. We were never invited. My father had commented, "A father learns online that another man walked his daughter." Heartbroken. My sister Tara had posted a carousel of spa photos with a line that said, "Some people do not value family." Liam had reacted with a sad face on every post like a sprinkler system for pity. Under my mother's caption, relatives stacked comments like kindling. So cruel. I cannot believe it. She changed. A few asked practical questions. Did you get an invite? No one answered. My hands went cold, then hot. I sat up and reached for the folder I named Wedding Logistics. I had already made the PDF with the mailed invitation receipt, the RSVP dashboard showing 0 family responses, and the 2 reminder texts with read receipts visible. I opened it and let my body remember that I was not crazy. Facts have faces in my world. They were looking back at me from the screen. Caleb woke and reached for my hand. Do you want to handle it or ignore it? The choice felt heavy and also simple. I am a lawyer with a platform where I explain contracts in plain English. I had already recorded a 3-part series on wedding mechanics. I had receipts that showed what happened, stripped of names, cleanly labeled. I took a breath and made myself do the boring thing first. I adjusted my Facebook settings so that no one could tag me without approval. I muted the family chat for 8 hours. I put a sticky note on my desk that said, "Do not argue in their comments." Then I opened TikTok. I filmed a new video in my kitchen with my coffee mug and frame because for years I have taught myself to make hard things sound like normal mornings. Hi, contract lawyer here. A thing is happening that happens to a lot of people after big events. Someone will claim they were not invited when they missed every RSVP and never answered a deadline. Here is how to respond without setting yourself on fire. I kept my voice low and even. I showed the invitation receipt with the address redacted. I showed the RSVP dashboard with personal names hidden, only the total count visible as 0 under family. I showed my reminder texts with the timestamps and read receipts. I explained reliance. I explained why vendors require firm numbers. I ended with a sentence I had written in my drafts. You are allowed to stop begging adults to click a link. You are allowed to fill chairs with people who already click. I posted it and turned off duets for that one. Then I posted a second clip that was just the aisle photo of 2 elbows with a caption, "When a mentor shows up, you let him." I did not write his name. I did not mention my father. I did not say replacement. I wrote gratitude. I pinned all 3 wedding mechanics videos to the top of my page so the full context lived there. Within minutes, planners were stitching again. Yes to deadlines. Yes to reliance. Yes to found family. A pastor commented, "Please do this in premarital classes." The replies were full of people saying, "Screenshots saved." A few said, "I wish I had done this before my graduation," or "My baby shower would have been easier with this reminder." I cried. I also ate toast. It is funny how your body still wants breakfast while your heart is deciding whether to shatter. Back on Facebook, my mother's post had grown. A cousin wrote, "First you hide the date, then you blame us." I scrolled past her name and refused the urge to counter under her comment. My page is where I set terms, not theirs. So I made one post on my own profile. A single square with 3 images. The invitation receipt with the date circled. The RSVP dashboard with the timestamp of closure. The last reminder text with the words, "Final call by noon." Caption, "I mailed invites. I sent a link. I sent 2 reminders. Vendors rely on numbers. I filled the room with people who replied, no names. No pointing." I set the audience to friends and hid the comment count. Then I put the phone face down again and went to brush my teeth the way a person does before she reads her own discovery. Messages started to arrive that did not vibrate with anger. A former professor wrote, "Your series is a masterclass in boundaries. A planner from my city offered to give a free workshop next year on RSVP etiquette to any high school that asks." A woman I do not know messaged, "My parents did not come either." We had cake anyway. It was still cake. I took a picture of our wedding cake left over in the fridge and smiled like a small animal unclenching. By late morning, my father switched tactics. He messaged me privately to say, "You should have called your father." I typed and deleted 3 versions of a response. I wanted to paste the 2 texts where I asked him to confirm walking me, and he heart reacted and wrote nothing else. I wanted to write a paragraph about phones working in both directions. Instead, I sent 1 sentence. "I sent invites and reminders and asked you directly twice." He replied with a thumbs up. The reaction that has become a character in my life. Tara posted a story with a quote about loyalty. Liam posted a meme of a sad cartoon. The comments under my mother's post kept circling the same small pool of phrases. "We always show up for family." "This must be a misunderstanding." Maya wrote under my square, "I saw your reminders. I am sorry they did not click. Your day looked full." It was the only comment on my timeline I pinned. I sat with the question of whether to blur my elbows video and take it down. Mr. Reyes texted before I could spiral. I saw the post. I am still honored. HR says they have your back if anyone calls the office. Also drink water. I drank water. I left the video up. Around lunchtime, a relative I have not seen in years messaged to tell me that my mother was telling people the date changed and that I did not notify them. I walked over to my binder where I keep vendor contracts because paper still calms me faster than screens. The date and print looked sturdy in a way a post never does. I took a photo and saved it to the folder titled Receipts. I did not post it. I reminded myself that I am not on trial even if I know how to try a case. The rest of the day felt like holding a line drawn in chalk before it rains. I checked comments in short bursts. I answered only the ones that asked genuine questions about contracts and timelines. I ignored bait. I took a nap. I hugged Caleb and told him the vow I forgot to say out loud yesterday. I will not publicly litigate my parents. He laughed and said, "That is the hottest lawyer thing I have ever heard." Here is the part I almost left out. It was still a good day. We walked to get noodles. People smiled at us because we still looked like a wedding in comfortable shoes. Back home, I watched my dog fall asleep with ribbon in his fur, and I thought, I am allowed to curate my feed and my life. I am allowed to keep my elbows video and my quiet album and the truth of who clicked links. I am allowed to let the noise burn out on its own. Tomorrow, I need to call the venue about a tiny billing question. I will also check my settings again and keep the mute on for the family chat. I am not hiding. I am choosing the room where the conversation is honest. Comment 1. Your post was a gift. Clear receipts, neutral tone, and real education on reliance. You owed no one a debate under their captions. Keep your documentation, keep your elbows video, and keep your peace. So proud of you. Comment 2. As a coordinator, I am sending your series to every couple. You modeled how to set boundaries without cruelty and how to answer misinformation without naming and shaming. This is textbook. Update 4. The morning after the Facebook storm, I promised myself 2 things. I would not debate under anyone else's captions. I would only post on my platforms, with receipts and calm language. Then my aunt made a move that forced me to add a 3rd rule. Protect the perimeter. At 9 a.m., my phone pinged with a calendar invite I did not create. Title: OP's Family Reception. Location: our old church hall. Photo: me in my dress, cropped from my own album. Host: Aunt Carol. Description: a proper celebration where OP's father will walk her down the aisle like it should have been. My stomach did the cold hot thing. I clicked through. The booking was in my name. The deposit was listed as unpaid. The date was a Saturday I had already reserved for a client closing. A public Facebook event mirrored the invite, complete with a caption about setting things right. I took screenshots. Then I called the church hall administrator and introduced myself as the person whose name was on the booking. She sounded startled and then apologetic. She said Aunt Carol had told her I asked for help because I was overwhelmed. I explained the situation, emailed the administrator the screenshots of the event and my own timeline showing I had given no consent, and asked her to cancel the reservation immediately. She did. She also sent me a note on letterhead confirming the cancellation and that the booking had been made by someone other than me. I dropped it into the folder labeled receipts and felt my breathing even out. A perimeter is not a feeling, it is a record. I texted Aunt Carol a single sentence. Cancel the event and do not use my image or my name without consent. She replied with a paragraph about how community heals all wounds. I did not engage. I posted a short TikTok for educational purposes only. Topic: unauthorized events and image use. I kept faces off. I explained that you cannot book a venue in someone else's name, that unconsented use of a person's photo for promotion is a problem, and that anyone in this position should call the venue and request documentation. Planners stitched it with clapping emojis. A church admin commented, "Please always call us. We do not want to be in the middle." At noon, my office line rang. Our receptionist transferred a caller to me with a quiet warning tone I know well. "It is your mother." I put the call on speaker with my paralegal present. My mother launched into a monologue about the do-over reception and how it would repair my reputation. Then she pivoted to Mr. Reyes. She said he had stolen a father's role, and she wanted to speak to our managing partner about his inappropriate boundary crossing. I watched my paralegal's eyebrows climb toward her hairline. I thanked my mother for her input, told her that contacting my workplace about my boss was unacceptable, and ended the call. Then I walked to HR, because that is what I would tell any client to do. HR was ready for me. Mr. Reyes had already forwarded an email from my mother sent to the general inbox. It said he had inserted himself for attention and that my firm should consider whether he had exploited my vulnerability. HR asked me to provide the timeline and documentation. I handed over the letter we filed before the wedding acknowledging his role as my chosen escort if needed. I provided my reminders to my father asking him to confirm and his heart reactions. I also provided a summary of the weekend's public posts without editorializing. HR logged everything, added a note that this was a personal matter with no policy concerns, and sent my mother a firm, neutral reply instructing her not to contact the firm again. Then HR asked if I needed time off. I said I needed a glass of water and 15 minutes in a quiet room. They handed me both. Kindness with a policy attached is underrated. Back online, the do-over event was still up even though the hall was canceled. Relatives were commenting excitedly. Finally, this is the real one. Family first. I did not want to post another square, but I also did not want people showing up to a closed door and blaming me for it. I posted a single slide on my Facebook. Black text on white. No second event has been authorized by me. Any booking in my name is not valid. Please do not contact my workplace or my colleagues. I set comments to limited and logged off. By late afternoon, my DMs split into two streams. One was ugly. You owe your father a walk. You replaced family with work clout. Return the dress and try again the right way. The other was steady and practical. Planners asking permission to use my unauthorized event explainer in their client packets. Clergy thanking me for reminding people that church staff are not referees. A high school teacher asking if she could build a lesson around RSVP etiquette and consent for image use. I said yes to the teachers and the planners. I said nothing to the ugliness. I saved 3 of the worst messages in my folder in case the tone escalated. Around 5, my cousin Maya texted a screenshot. It was a post from my mother in a private family group. We tried to fix this, she wrote. She refused. Underneath, a cousin asked, why book it in her name then? No one answered. Maya added only, I am sorry you have to keep proving the same facts. I told her I was grateful for the way she asks questions without making me the answer key. The last surprise of the day arrived as a registered letter on our doormat. Inside was a box from my parents with a note on top. Memories you threw away. The box held program pamphlets from my sister's piano recitals, Liam's old hockey rosters, and a single photo of my 7th grade science fair where I stood behind a trifold board with no one beside me. I sat on the floor and laughed, then cried, then placed the photo on our bookshelf because the girl in it deserved to be seen even if she had to frame herself. I ended the day with one more post. Not a clapback. An instruction. The way I do with clients. If someone creates a do-over for your life without your consent, you can say no. If they contact your workplace, document and notify HR. If they use your image, ask for removal and get a letter on file. Then go back to dinner with the people who already showed up. Caleb and I ate noodles again because we are creatures of comfort. I told him that I was proud of keeping my promise not to argue under their captions. He told me he was proud of me for drawing a line around our home and our work. The dog fell asleep with a scrap of ribbon on his nose and snored like a tiny train. I closed my laptop. I do not know if there will be more events created in my name or more phone calls to my office. I do know that I have a process now. Perimeter, receipts, policy. Peace, in that order. Comment 1. You did everything right. Document, loop in HR. Provide the pre-existing letter acknowledging your boss's role and get a written instruction to cease contacting the workplace. Also smart to notify the venue and get cancellation confirmation on letterhead. Comment 2. Hear me out. A small coffee with your parents and Mr. Reyes together could clear the air. I know you do not owe it, but it might dial down the drama. If you try it, do it at a therapist's office so your mom cannot turn it into a scene. Update 5. 2 days after the unauthorized do-over fizzled, the family machine shifted from events to narratives. My mother posted a long caption about forgiveness that only used my first initial. My father commented that he will always leave the porch light on. Tara ran a poll in her stories. Would you forgive if family missed your big day? The options were loaded. Of course, or clout changes people. Liam posted a blurry meme about loyalty. It felt like standing inside a laundromat, watching other people's clothes spin. I made one decision that set the tone for the rest of the week. I changed my Facebook audience to a small circle and let my TikTok do the public talking, since that is where I am meticulous and measured. I posted a final entry in the Wedding Mechanics series. Reputational cleanup after an event. I covered 3 things in 30 seconds each. 1. How to share your timeline without doxing or naming. 2. How to correct misinformation with a single neutral graphic. 3. How to decline interviews or comment requests with a template reply. I ended with, your life is not a panel show. The planners cheered in the comments. A therapist duetted to talk about family systems. A law professor asked to use the clips in her class. It felt like moving from defense to teaching again, my safest posture. The uglier messages did not stop. I received one DM that said, return the dress and let your father try again. I screenshotted it to my folder, then blocked. Another said, you traded family for clicks. I recorded a draft response and never posted it. Instead, I published something I had promised myself I would share no matter what. A thank you reel to my coworkers. Quick cuts of elbows clinking, napkins dabbing eyes, and a still of Mr. Reyes' sleeve beside mine. Caption: thank you to the people who clicked yes and then did not make me chase them. It was gentle, and it was all true. Aunt Carol tried to rebook the church hall in my name again. This time, the administrator called me first. I asked her to keep a note on file that any use of my name requires written confirmation from me. She added it to their binder and emailed me a copy. I mailed a small donation to the hall with a thank you note for handling it gracefully. Paper plus gratitude is my favorite combination. HR followed up to say they had not heard again from my mother, and they had documented the incident thoroughly. Mr. Reyes left a post-it on my monitor that said, "Your closing memo is excellent. Please remember to eat the office sheet cake happened on Friday. We used paper plates. I made a small toast and said, 'My gratitude is a contract. Do not test it. I will enforce it.'" And everyone laughed the way people laugh when they are relieved the room is light. Cousin Maya remained the single relative whose messages felt like a hand on my shoulder. She sent one line. I unfollowed the drama accounts. Then she added a photo of a tree at golden hour. I asked her to brunch. We ate pancakes and talked about nothing for an hour, which is how I knew she was a keeper in the circle. My parents left a box on our porch again. This time, it contained a framed photo of me at 8 in a recital dress and a note, "We miss this version of you." I left the photo on a shelf because I miss that version of me too, but not enough to pretend she still has to chase. I emailed my parents a single boundary reminder. No more unauthorized bookings, no workplace calls, no events in my name. Future contact can be scheduled through a therapist. I turned read receipts off for them. I do not need to manage when they see my words. Professionally, the ripple was oddly positive. I was invited to record a guest lecture on event contracts and reliance. I accepted and kept the personal specifics out of it, because the principles stand on their own. My following grew, which I feel strange acknowledging, but it matters insofar as it proves that telling the truth clearly has utility outside my living room. Caleb asked what I wanted to do with the empty front row place cards stamped with my family's names. I put them in an envelope and labeled it Archive. Not because I'm saving them for a do-over, because I want future me to remember that I did not wait on the porch with a flashlight. I walked into a room full of people who had already arrived. There will be relatives who cling to the idea that a proper wedding requires a father's arm. There will be ones who insist I should have called the morning of, the hour of, the minute I stepped into my shoes. I know those arguments by heart. I also know the sound of a room that is cheering at the exact moment you say true things. It is not loud. It is present. We are planning a backyard thank you dinner for the coworkers who saved our day. Paper lanterns, takeout noodles, a toast that is not about what was missing, but about who showed up. If my family tries another do-over, I have a process. Perimeter, receipts, policy, peace. I am keeping it. Am I the jerk for refusing to engage in their public narrative, locking down my Facebook, continuing to teach on TikTok with neutral receipts, and telling relatives any future contact goes through a therapist instead of my DMs or my office? Comment 1. Fellow attorney here. Your perimeter receipts policy piece framework is brilliant. You are not the jerk. Keep the documentation, keep the workplace firewall, and keep teaching. Family can request a mediated meeting if they truly want repair. Comment 2. I still think a quiet coffee with your parents could help. Not ode, but humane. If you try, please do it with a therapist so you are not ambushed again. Final update. 11 months later. Here is what quiet looks like almost a year on. The photo in our hallway is still the one with 2 sleeves side by side, light pouring through the window. When I pass it, I do not hear arguments under captions. I hear forks on plates and the low murmur of people who arrived on time. My parents did attempt a mediated session, which I agreed to only after the therapist confirmed ground rules. In the room, my mother said she had expected a personal call the morning of. My father said he assumed family always has a seat. I brought a printed timeline and the RSVP dashboard. I did not slide it across the table. I kept it on my lap as ballast. I said calmly, I sent invitations and reminders. I cannot build a marriage on chasing adults. The therapist asked them to name one thing they could control. My father said, I can reply to the next invite I receive. It was not an apology. It was a start. We ended the hour with no hugs, just a confirmed understanding that contact will be scheduled and respectful, and that my workplace is not a portal for grievances. We have kept low contact since. It is not warm. It is not war. Aunt Carol sent a typed apology to the church hall for booking in my name. She did not send one to me. I do not need one to stop guarding the perimeter with my shoulders. The hall administrator mailed me a copy for my records. I filed it and sent another small donation. Tara rotates through brand partnerships and loyalty quotes. Liam texts me a dog meme sometimes. I respond with a heart. That is where our relationship lives right now. In neutral emojis that do not promise more than either of us can deliver. Cousin Maya became real family in the way that requires no labels. We walk on Sundays. She always brings an apple for the dog. She took a candid photo of me laughing at a joke so bad it wrapped around to good, and that is the one I sent to the professor who requested an author bio headshot. Progress looks like sending joy when asked for credentials. Work bloomed. The Wedding Mechanics series turned into a short continuing education module for planners and venue managers. I recorded it in a blazer and sneakers because that is who I am. The title slide reads, Clarity is kindness. The last slide reads, Your life is not a panel show. I sign off with, say yes where you can. Say no where you must. Put it in writing. Caleb and I hosted that backyard thank you dinner. Paper lanterns, takeout noodles, a toast that went, to the people who clicked yes and showed up. Mr. Reyes raised his glass and said nothing performative. He just nodded like a person who knows the value of showing up quietly. HR sent a plant that I, against all odds, have kept alive. Sometimes I take out the envelope with the empty place cards and read their names like a litany of things I cannot fix for other people. Then I put the cards back and go sit under the photo with the 2 sleeves and remind myself I did not get married to perform a repair. I got married to build a home that does not require begging to be seen. We are planning a small first anniversary in the same room with the tall windows. 2 rows of seats, all spoken for by people who RSVP on the first ask. I will post a short clip about deadlines and gratitude. I will not post a clapback. The porch light at my parents' house can stay on or not. My door has a bell. If someone rings it with respect, we will answer. If not, we will eat cake anyway. It is still cake. Closure does not feel like a slammed door. It feels like a clean calendar block where you put your phone down and pick up a fork. It feels like choosing your audience on purpose. It feels like quiet that you did not have to earn by shrinking. Thank you for walking this with me. For anyone standing in front of empty rows, I promise there are people who will fill them with their whole selves. Send the invite. Set the deadline. Believe the replies. Keep the seats for the ones who show up.